Hey guys, it's your girl Arlene here with Leanie Travels and welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be featuring a special story time about a travel experience that I had with my favorite airline. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram prior to my YouTube channel, you would have known that there's a particular airline that I was always bashing on my page, and the reason was because I had a pretty bad experience with them. So grab your cup of coffee, you know I'm a Starbucks girl, but grab whatever it is that you like to drink because I will be sharing all the tea about what happened during that whole travel experience. So as you know, the famous Spirit Airline. Now I have to laugh because every time I think about that whole experience, the Lord was with me back then. So I found these really cheap ticket on Google Flights, I believe it was, and I posted on Facebook, hey, I found cheap flights to Panama. Does anyone wants to travel? My friends Sharon and Karishma, they contacted me and said, let's go. There were two airlines, Copa and Spirit, and my friend Sharon, she was adamant that she did not want to fly an airline that was not US based, so she decided that we should have gone with Spirit. I should not have listened to Sharon. Alright, well, I've flown Spirit a couple of times to Atlanta. I mean, for I think it was $26, or why not? So I said, you know what, Spirit is not that bad. Let us fly Spirit to Panama. And we were flying out of Orlando, which would have been, we had one stop in Fort Lauderdale, but on the way back, it was a direct flight straight to MCO, and I was very happy with that. So we got to Panama, had a blast. It was very cheap. It was one of the best vacations that year, if you ask me. I had all intentions of traveling to another city upon my arrival back to the US. So I had a friend who was also graduating from college, and we've been childhood friends from diaper days. And my friend from Antigua and I, we had already planned a trip to Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia in Canada. And I was flying back, yes, I was touring the world that year, but I was flying back from Panama to Orlando, then flying to New York to go to Montreal, and then to Halifax, Nova Scotia. We were prepping for our trip back to Orlando, and we got to the airport, no notification. Got to the airport and there was a long line at the Spirit counter. So we're just, thinking that, well, a lot of people are traveling, not realizing that Spirit had canceled our flight. So we got there, and Spirit, we got to the counter to check in, and we noticed that on the board it said flight to Orlando canceled. So at that time, I'm already panicking because I know that I have a flight the next morning. So I said to myself, that flight cannot be canceled. I have to go home today. Plus, by the time I already paid for all my tickets, it was pretty expensive. And if you know Spirit is not going to compensate you for any of the flights that you have if you miss that flight because of them. So we're speaking with the agent, and I can laugh now because the anxiety, it was just building up in that moment. So I asked them, when is the next available flight to Orlando? They don't know. How can you not know when I can leave this country? So at this point, the Antiguan in me it's riling up and it's about to come out. So you mean for tell me I can't really find a flight for put my pan? All right, at this point, I was about to go ballistic on the agent. I said, you know what? I'm not going to sweat it. I'm calling corporate. When I go back to America, I'll deal with this issue. And trust me, this was all in my Antiguan accent. It wasn't as calm as it sounds now. They don't have a flight to put us on. They don't know what's going on. And the reason they gave why we could not fly was because of bad weather. But Copa Airlines left Orlando to come to Panama. The same route that you were taking, Copa flight landed in Panama, and they were going to depart on time. So I knew that was a lie. It was a bluff. At this point, I was like, oh, I think I tricksy. I go put me on another airline because me have engagement tomorrow, and I met me miss for me friend graduation. So by the hook or the crook, I better find a way to get me out of Panama. So I was really upset. So at that point, I said, it is what it is, and this is why it is very important to have either a credit card or extra money when you're traveling, because anything can happen while you're in another country, and you don't want to be caught in a bad situation and you don't have the actual cash to make a different decision. So my friends and I said, you know what? Forget it. We're going to fly Copa. They told us to contact corporate. I said, we cannot make whatever flight arrangement that you're making for the next date, because I need to be in Orlando the next day. Do you guys want to know what the new flight arrangement was? So Spirit had this bright idea to fly us to Fort Lauderdale Airport. Mind you, we were supposed to be taking a direct flight to Orlando. They were going to fly us at 2 a.m. the next day to Fort Lauderdale Airport, and then shuttle us once we get there around 4 in the morning. They will put us on a bus shuttle, guys, to Orlando International Airport. At this point, there was no coming back for me and that agent. I promise I wasn't disrespectful. I was just upset, and it came out in the way I communicated. I'm pretty sure he didn't even understand a word that I said, because like I said, it was in my Antiguan dialect accent, and this is a Spanish speaking country. He was probably wondering, what is this woman saying? So needless to say, that was not on the table. I told him this is not acceptable. I did not pay for a bus service in an international country, so I am not taking that flight. I will be calling corporate to find out what can be done in that situation. I'm going on Copa. So we went over to a Copa counter, and I literally rushed. By this time, it was like an hour and 5 minutes before departure of that Copa flight. So you know the cutoff time is around an hour for a flight. My friends and I got there. I said, are there any seats? She said yes, but it's really kind of close. We won't be able to make it. I said, I don't care what you do. Put me on that flight first. Which, and my friends understood, because they knew I had another engagement in the morning. So they said, go ahead and list her on the flight, and if we don't get on, it's fine, but she needs to get out. Luckily, all three of us were able to take a flight. It cost us another $500 to return to the US, but we were able to get on the Copa flight. And you know what? When we got on Copa Airlines, they served us food. So Copa Airlines, let's see her right there, give free food. Okay, Copa for the win. Why didn't we fly them over Spirit in the first place?
Oh, because Sharon said she only want to fly
American baby.
franchise.
Listen, watch me. She not get me ever again. You know, she not catch me ever again. American Airlines, please, elite member. Thanks. I was just excited because they fed us real food. It wasn't just a sandwich. We had pasta. I think it was chicken, if I remember correctly. This was before I went vegan. So the excitement, it was all there. I made it back to the US, and I went on my merry way to New York the next morning, and then over to Nova Scotia the next day. I had a grand time in Canada. So what happened with Spirit Airlines? I still get upset every time I think about this, guys. So we sent corporate an email, because that's what the agent instructed us to do. You have to communicate with the corporate office, because we're not equipped to deal with your issue. Okay, so I sent an email and I asked for a refund for the ticket, because obviously I did not take that flight. You were the one who canceled. You canceled on me the day that I was supposed to fly, and my next flight would have left over 8 hours later from the original flight. Now, when you're traveling, know your rights. I know my rights, and I research DOT, Department of Transportation, what is allowed with these airlines, because they will take you for granted, and I'm not the one. I'm really not the one. So corporate said they weren't going to issue a refund, they were going to issue a voucher, and at this point I am livid, because I'm never flying Spirit Airlines again. So what voucher are you telling me about? I do not want a voucher. I want my money back on my card, because you messed up. Guys, at this point, let me tell you, I was on Instagram, I was on Twitter, I was on Facebook. Every meme that had Spirit in here, I was reposting it. Never fly Spirit again. They don't care about people. You're just another paycheck to them. I went in to the point where anything that, you know, it was a bad rep for Spirit, my friends were tagging me in everything related to Spirit, and it was just a horrible time for me because I couldn't understand something like that. American would have refunded me my my airfare because they were the ones who canceled it, or they would have accommodated me some other way. So this is the treatment that I was accustomed to. I wasn't accustomed to this ghetto. I'm telling you, it was so ghetto. So, the question of the day, why am I sharing this with you 2 years later? You might be wondering. Well, the reason is my lesson in all of this is to never say never, because guess who took themselves on Spirit Airlines again? Honestly, Spirit was a direct flight, 2.5 hours from Orlando, and going on American Airlines, it would have been a 6-hour flight for me because I had to lay over in Miami and then go to St. Thomas. And when I really thought about it, I just wanted to be on the beach. I wanted to enjoy my vacation. You know, every airline have a bad day. At some point, they're going to have a bad day. I've had bad experience with American. I've had bad experience with Delta. I haven't flown United that much to have a bad experience with them. It's okay. If you decide that you've had a bad experience with an airline and you want to fly them again, it's okay. So I'm eating up all the words and all of the memes and all of the bashing that I did with Spirit because I flew Spirit again. I'm not a person that just go around bashing airlines. I really wanted to give Spirit a second chance. So did they actually redeem themselves? Let's take a look in the next video.